Hi everybody. Today I want to talk about how you can work and keep your hands clean, keep your work clean, and generally avoid some of the problems that come with working with adhesives. The first thing, which seems pretty obvious, as will possibly some of these other suggestions, is to always keep what you're working on a pressing board. It's just a simple thing, but the bench can get messy and there can be, glue, paste, cat stuff, whatever. And if you lay your book in it, you're going to be really upset with yourself. It's much easier to clean off a pressing board than it is to clean off your book or your cloth or your leather. So it's a very good habit to get into, is just when you're working, the book just lives on your pressing board. And at some point, I'll do a video on how to how to have nice pressing boards made relatively affordably. So there's that. Now, the title of this video is Clean Fingers, Dirty Fingers, so maybe we should talk about that. Again, kind of a simple concept. These are your clean fingers, your thumb and your forefinger. The other three are what you use when you need to touch something that is gluey or dirty or anything that could transfer onto the book you're working on. So clean, dirty. And I thought the easiest way to show how this works is I'm going to glue up a piece of decorated paper and I'm going to cover a board. And then I'm going to actually take it a step further. I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners and do the turn-ins so that you can get a handle on how I do that. And that will, I'll go into that in more detail, probably in the future. So here is waste sheet. Old newspaper is ideal for this, although you want to let it sit probably for 3 to 6 months because this soy-based ink takes a long time to dry. I'm going to use hot glue for this because it gives me sufficient working time, but it tacks fast. Another thing you'll notice is that I'm using a very large brush, but I'm actually getting ahead of myself because I want to talk about the tools that I'm going to use to do this process. So the first thing is a bone folder. That's my folder. A pair of scissors for cutting corners. And last but not least, a utility knife, which is not for cutting, but for picking off foreign material out of the adhesive, because almost invariably something will be there. And if you leave it, it can show under the paper once everything is done, and that's a no-no. So we got this, we got this, we got this. So as I started to say before, I have charged my glue brush in the pot and I've just wiped off the outside. So there's plenty of glue in here. You'll notice this is a good sized brush. In general, you want to use the largest brush you can in the context of whatever you're doing. Just makes things a lot easier, things go faster. A round brush will hold enough glue so that I can do this whole sheet. I could do a larger one if I wanted to. So I'm going to hold down one end of the paper with 2 of my dirty fingers. Start at the center, brush out. Hold the paper down so it can't move. Move my hand to the other side. Finish gluing out. Turn the brush if you have to. And you can see there we've got some hairs, which these guys always seem to shed. So I'm going to take my knife. So that's everything. Now, in fact, even though I wouldn't normally do this, I'm going to put this over to the side. I put the board here. And this way you can see how I handle a piece of paper that's been glued. So I have it so, okay? And this way I can put it down where I want it. Now, if I was really being smart, I'd do it the other way, but I want you to see how to handle a piece of material that has adhesive on it. All right. Now, something else that's good to know is you just need to use the heel of your hand to work the covering material down. You can be firm, but you don't have to be hard or, you know, forceful. You really don't need a folder to do this. You don't want to abuse the surface of the material with your folder, okay? So that's okay. So there's that. I'm going to cut the corners now. I would normally hang this over the edge of the bench, but since I'm working on the copy stand, I don't have that luxury. I make a 45-degree cut about 1.5 board widths out from the corner. All right, so you have to be aware of the thickness of your boards doing this. Head and tail first. And an important point is that you need to really pull the material over the edge of the board to make sure you don't have any bags. Okay, see how? Okay, now you can see there's a little bit of material there where the paper comes over the corner. You're going to take that and you're going to kind of roll it in and then give it a little push. Okay? So you can kind of see everything's staying nice and clean. I don't have glue marks or fingerprints or anything. Now, sometimes the decorated, you know, sometimes the marbling will, the pigment will come off on you, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. Okay, at this point, I take my folder. Now, another nice thing to know is that if you have hair, you can run your folder through your hair a couple of times, and that will give you just enough hair oil to lubricate. You can use that. I do that when I'm working with an awl too, to just run the awl through your hair, and it will go through whatever you're trying to pierce a little easier. Now I'm shaping the corners. You'll get a little bit of fullness from that little nick that you want to move off the, you know, kind of off the foredge and make the corner symmetrical, and also take the sharpness off of it. There you go. So you can see everything stays nice and clean. And with the hot glue, it's pretty painless. I suspect anybody who just uses PVA was screaming when I started to glue out, because PVA dries so fast that it's hard to, you know, do a large area. But I'm going to address that in probably the next video. I think it's time to talk about adhesives because it's a very important thing. So make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, so we got, you can run your folder all through your hair. Also, when you're working, you can't afford, if you get glue on your hands, you can't afford to stop and go and wash, okay? Because you're in the middle of something. So it might sound a little less than desirable, but what you do is, if your hands become sticky while you're working, rub them together, then run them through your hair, and repeat that 2 or 3 times. And after that, the glue will kind of be neutralized, for lack of a better term, and you can keep working. So, as you work, run your fingers through your hair, rub them together, and then you can just keep going. Once you're done, you can wash your hands and, get clean again. I think that's it. Those are the points I really wanted to cover. I hope it helps. Might sound, like I say, it might sound unimportant, but these are the little things that make this sort of work a lot easier for the practitioner and will give you a better result at the end of the job. So thanks again, and I will be back soon.